Okay, back at it again. Later than I'd planned, but at this point, I'm just cool with rocking up at all. Because I've been, I've been working a little too hard recently, and keep crashing out. Not gonna lie, I slept like 13 hours last night. So that's fun, but I have a thing from yesterday. I made the right decision by not streaming this, because my god, the dust that this kicked up. Absolutely unreal. But I have this. I now need to make this a little less disgusting. And to do that, I'm going to whack some polyfiller in there. So I have a board that I've been using for polyfiller. I'm just picking off the worst of what's left on it real quick. Yeah, gonna mix up a load of basically just very fine cement and use that to fill in a bunch of gaps, smooth a bunch of stuff, and that's kind of how that's gonna go, to be honest. Just gonna set the fan up, because it's not gonna be as much dust as plaster, but even so. And I've got the door open, because, you know, daylight and stuff. So, yeah, I am gonna have the fan on. Let me grab this and the paint can lid I've been using as a little water container. Pouring in little bits from the watering can. I know me, and I will end up pouring too much water if I just do it straight on, so I won't do that. So yeah, probably should have moved a bunch of my balls from yesterday out the way. Ho hum. I can just, yeah, I can slide that on there. That's fine. That's fine. Matters not. So I'm going to make a massive mess with this, because I always do. And then an even bigger mess with this. Bound to happen. And I'll just mix stuff up, bit at a time. Slap it on there and try and smooth this thing out, basically. At the minute, it is a pretty wobbly, ugly mess. That's fine. That's fine. That is fixable. decent. So I'm just gonna slap it on here, to be honest. I'm expecting this to take a couple of passes, because it really is quite a mess. I'm going to need quite a bit to fix it. I'll just do it a bit at a time. Cover what I can. Then I'll just have to wait for a while in between. Not going to be easy to fill this. So, patience is going to be a requirement. And that's going to annoy me. But I don't have a choice, so I'll just have to get over myself. Sure, I can find other things to do in the meantime. Primarily, I want to focus on that deadline I set for myself for Friday. That thing I want to make. I'm still no closer to finishing. So I planned to do some yesterday and then ended up doing this for the rest of the afternoon. Took a lot longer than it was supposed to, but you know. It is what it is, and I always assume that I'm overestimating what I can get done in a day. So I can't do stuff now. I'm just kind of like, okay, well, it's annoying, but I'm not surprised. I can at least get some of this done. And it can be drying for a while I do other stuff. I can come back and do another lot, blah blah blah. Kind of approach it systematically, really. Just want to fill the worst bits to start with. I want to keep it fairly smooth and consistent. It just means less sanding later, which is a net plus, to be honest. Probably too dry. I don't know though. Might be alright. I think that'll be alright. I will roll with it. I'm going to focus this top edge start with. I need to have somewhere I can leave it sat to dry out. I'll probably leave the bottom edge for now. Round to that later. Basically, just looking to fill the gaps this first line. And get everything to a reasonably even point. And everything's dried off. Look at handing stuff back, evening things out, and then adding extra. It's gonna take me a while to get this an even surface that I can then sculpt on. Take a couple of passes at least. Main thing is, I have a thing. Worked enough that I can then work with it. So it's kind of been how I've been keeping myself sane at the minute. As long as I've made progress in a day, then okay, fine. I can work with that. Bothers me less. Also trying to film time lapses now as I'm doing stuff. Having done so with my mate on Saturday, actually, quite cool. And having those videos, he also pointed out that really I should have a TikTok. That upsets me. I don't like that. I don't want to have that. But he's not wrong. He's a lot better at social media than I am. And he's totally right. I do need to do that. Do myself no favours by not having it. I've always been one of those people, like, I just, head down, quietly getting on with stuff. Never been a social media person. But it is a powerful tool, and I'm not helping myself by not using it. So, fair play. The fairest of fair play. So I'll see how this time lapse plays out. polyfilla's not quite like plaster. Where plaster just kind of drinks stuff up. And you need a lot more of it. This is more like cement. It ends up being pretty dry. You need a lot more water with this than you do with plaster. Not that much, though. Let me attempt to fix this. Thinking today is probably going to be one of my more chilled days. That's what I'm leaning toward. I think I've spent the past few days. Yeah, I like to be busy, but I've been a little bit I've wound up kind of sort of burning myself out pretty hard. I think today is going to be, yes, I'll get stuff done, but, like, I'm not going to be going as ham as I have been, to be honest. Now that's too dry again. Unless it isn't. That might be okay, actually. Feels slightly dry, so I am literally just going to try and, like, slap a tiny bit in there. Be okay. Edge again. It's going to be a lot easier to see what I'm working with once this is on and sanded back. Because at the minute, it's like, it looks like a fairly consistent shape, but it's going to be easier to see, like, oh, okay, so I've got this ridge up here that's not quite the same on the other side, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I need to shave this bit down, or build this bit up. It's kind of hard to see when everything in that sort of dark green of the fiberglass. I can feel where there are inconsistencies, but I can't see them. Whereas with this on, I can see the high points coming through, and it will fill all the low points. So it's just about getting it to be an even starting surface. Same way that I did it last time. Because you could say, well, is there any point in making it even to begin with? If you're going to be texturing it and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's not consistent to start with. It's going to end up a wobbly mess by the end. But yeah, okay, I am roughing it up a bit. I need to start from smooth face, have everything look nice and even. Otherwise, it's in danger of being inconsistent. And I think that's the difference between making things look kind of rustic and having them just be an actual mess. There is an element of finesse to it. It's just then stylistically you're making it look a certain way. In the same way that like weathering stuff, you know, there's a difference between something being very convincingly weathered and okay, you just kind of hacked at this and called it weathered. Yeah. It's more finesse to a lot of these things than you'd think. In my opinion, what do I know? It's just my observation. I tend to find that the best weathering is a lot of effort. Ironic, yes, definitely. But to make things look believably worn and messed up takes an ironic amount of finesse. Because human brains are naturally geared toward and when you're weathering stuff, you kind of have to actively work against that. Not easy. It also depends what you're going for, really. I've weathered things in several different ways, depending on what they are. My my Tears of the Kingdom link, I've weathered with eyeshadow quite a bit. I didn't want anything too harsh because the game itself is very bright, and you know it's not got that kind of grit to it that would warrant particularly harsh weathering. So it was just, you know, those stones that you get to like scrape the skin off the bottoms of your feet. I grabbed one of those and went along the edges, and then just kind of took some eyeshadow in places. So it was sort of lightly weathered. Whereas the Huntress cosplay, good god, that thing was destroyed. I took a seam ripper along the hem of the skirt and just tore it to shreds, and then literally took black and brown paint along several points. And that worked perfectly because it is meant to be dark and edgy, and it's a horror game. I don't know. The more you play it, the less it is a horror game. It's more if you've played Dead by Daylight a lot, the only horror that you really get is from solo queue. Kind of it. Kind of numb to everything else after a while. But yeah, it's all contextual and depends on what you want at your end result. Really. There are different approaches. This is the case with most of these things. It is just kind of trial and error. Some things will work better than others. You kind of figure it out, guys. More stuff. Looking forward to painting these. That's going to be fun. Got several ideas how I want to approach it. Now, really, just want to get the things themselves made. That's been my big push. They're the bits that I've been most anxious over. Got the stuff I need for the fabric side of things. But this has been like my big. This has been the thing that's been kind of actually winding up in my dreams. So, this is what I'd rather be focusing on. I think just because there's the unknown aspect to it. When it comes to sewing, it's like, all right, cool, that's my territory, really. I know what I'm doing with that. Fiberglass, like, all right, I've had some experience prior to all this. I've not used it as like the final piece for anything. I mean, I have now. I've got Eddie, but I hadn't. I suppose there are a lot more unknowns to this. Wanted to make sure I wasn't getting caught out by the time factor. really am still aiming to get this done ahead of time. That's what I want. I want to be done with this for October. Whole thing. It would be the first time in many years I'm able to do it. That's what I'm aiming for. Because if it's done and dusted and sat neatly waiting to go, I can kind of work on a bit of a reset. I can actually kind of chill out before the event, gather my thoughts, just be in a better frame of mind by the time these things roll around. The plan, whether that actually happens or not, remains to be seen. That's why I've just kind of been relentlessly pushing all of this. I want to be able to enjoy myself. Because it's probably going to be a while before I can go to another MCM. Now that I've got business stuff I need to. But yeah, we'll see. See how it plays out. I've got Fantasy Forest before then. That's very soon. Still haven't finished my outfits for that. Classic me. I have other things I can wear, but I need to finish at least the Swamp Shaman. Because that's my, if it's extremely hot, I need to wear this outfit. There's very little of it. And what there is very, very light. There's also a big hat. So it literally, I had designed it for hot weather. So I need to finish that. And then if I get around to doing the other stuff, awesome. If I don't, okay, I've got backups. And my emergency outfit is good to go, so we're fine. In fairness, it's most of the way there. It's gotta sew some stuff. All hand stitching. Which is a little more time consuming, but it makes sense for this. So. It's mostly just packing stuff in key areas so that it stays where it needs to. That's mostly done. going to have to start looking at packing stuff soon. That's exciting. Start writing lists. I always have lists of things a couple of weeks before I need them. It gives me time to think about anything else. I'm always adding to lists. No good just doing it the night before, because I will definitely forget stuff. So I always start planning things a good couple of weeks ahead of time. And then as I remember things, I add them to the list. And then I'll decide whether I need them nearer the time, and then remove stuff again. And it's a very changeable thing. I do envy people who can just pack stuff the night before without stressing about it, and just have absolutely everything they need. That is a skill. It will never be me. I'm at peace with that. I accept that. But it's definitely admirable. Like, I'll have lists a couple of weeks ahead of time, and I'll pack stuff a week ahead of time, typically. And it will just be sat there, waiting to go. And as I pack stuff, I will tick it off my list, so I know that it's in there. I won't tick it off until it is physically in my suitcase. So I'll never tick off things like my phone and chargers or whatever, because they won't be in any bags until the day. The only way I can stop myself sort of religiously checking back through things that I've packed I am horrendous for double checking. Just end up so paranoid. If I do things that way, then it's no, I wouldn't have put a tick next to it unless it was in a bag. So I will not be double checking, because I do not need to. But that's going to be good fun. I'm looking forward to it. And it's nice because it's I'm not going in like character cosplay. I did last year, because I thought, I don't have anything else to wear to this event, really, and I don't know what it's about. I just know that it's fantasy themed, so I'll take my Wave Mother Astarion with me. And like, as nice as it was to get the recognition for it, I was looking around at all these other like creations from people. and all of these interesting, like, fantasy creatures and characters, and I was just thinking, man, I would rather be doing that. Like, don't get me wrong, character cosplay has been my entire existence. I love it. It means a lot to me. I put a lot of pride in what I can create for stuff like that. But it's kind of I've kind of ended up working backwards. I think most people should start with things like that, things of their own devising, things that they've assembled themselves from random bits and pieces from charity shops or just kicking about the house. But I never did that. I jumped straight into, right, well, here's a character I like. I want to make that. I'm going to make that as close to my source material as I possibly can. Like, I've always worked to someone else's brief. And I was walking around this festival thinking, you know what? I'd quite like to have my own brief. I'd like to work to something that was my own devising. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm excited about it. It's so freeing having your own concepts, your own ideas. Creativity comes in a bunch of different forms, but it does just feel more creative. And I'm super stoked for it. Nice. It's kind of like being off duty, I suppose. And don't get me wrong, like, I love fan interactions and talking with people from various fandoms and getting pictures with people who are just so genuinely in love with a character. Like, you feed off that energy and it is fantastic. And I had such a good time last October. Like, the amount of people after the competition were literally queuing to get pics with me. It was amazing. It was so gratifying. Have so many people appreciate the work I'd put into something. But I am very much looking forward to just off-duty cosplay. Like, I couldn't do that kind of thing not in cosplay. I would feel completely naked. But it's nice to be able to go, not not necessarily like as myself, but also kind of, I suppose. It'd be nice to play my own characters, I guess. I'm going with mate, and they're doing the same sorts of things. Could poke them. I think it'd be fun if we made character sheets beforehand. established our classes. Made it more of a LARP-esque thing. Because I've got like 3 different outfits. We're only going for 2 days, but I've got 3 options that I want to have. And all 3 of them are different classes. So it'd be kind of fun if I drew up a sheet for each of them beforehand. Just tags. Fair enough. But we'll see. It depends if I get time. Knowing me, probably not. So I'll kind of leave that one as a on the shelf type deal. I still need to finish 2 of the 3 outfits. At least one of those 2, because basically, as far as classes, I've got the druid with my swamp shaman. I've got calling him the Barbarian because he's a rogue presenting barbarian. Very fancy looking. And the one that really I relate to the most. And then I've got a 3rd that depends on weather. If it's cool enough, then I could wear it. And I think he's probably a warrior. But I need to decide. Still not 100% sure how I want to play him. I play like I'm actually going to be playing any of these. I'm not. I just like coming up with full characters rather than, just outfits. I think that speaks quite a lot to my attitude toward these things. It's never just a case of dressing up. I'm always playing a character. I like that. The whole lot of the fun is playing a character. And I think there's kind of this misconception around things like cosplay, where people assume that, like, oh, you're playing these characters because you're running away from who you actually are. Nah, not at all. It's just fun. I think a lot of people kind of make it into more than it is. Like, oh, why do you feel the need to play dress up? Because it's fun. Like, who cares? What does it matter? And that's not to say that, like, there can't be more to it, because there definitely is. Like, it's absolutely huge part of who I am. For sure. I love it. It means the absolute world to me. It's a means of creative expression. And it's a way of kind of applying a bunch of obscure skills and it helps to make dreams reality. You know, like that's what got me into this to begin with. I remember it. I remember exactly why I started doing all this. Now, in fairness, I grew up in a theatre family, so I've always been geared toward that sort of thing. Ever since I was little, any character that I ever obsessed over, Nan was always able to make the outfit for it. And then as I got older, that just kind of spiraled. And one day, I remember I was playing Smash Brothers Melee on the GameCube, and I was completely infatuated with Young Link. And I was talking about it with my nan, and she just said, "Well, I can make that." So she did. Just made a tunic and a hat, had a belt, and that was that was the beginning of it all, really. That's where things went from kind of massive dress up to full blown cosplay. Because that tunic and hat, they were sacred to me. They were everything. And as I got older and grew out of those, I decided, all right, well, I'm sure I can figure this out. I'll just make myself some more. By that point, I was in sort of my early teens and figured, all right, well, may as well go for Adult Link. And that was my first kind of actual solo cosplay. It was just a green felt tunic and a green felt hat, some crummy cardboard ears covered with like nylon pop socks so they were vaguely skin toned. And I had a white shirt and white leggings, brown boots, belt, shop bought sword that I'd built onto to make it into the Master Sword. Made my own scabbard. Again, cardboard. Cardboard and craft foam for the most part. That was the real beginning. Ever since, that's been the obsession. And every time I picked a character, I was learning new stuff, teaching myself new skills, trying new materials, and it just never stopped. So I never really had that more experimental phase, I guess. Like when I was super young, yeah, I definitely that's how I got by. I'd use bits and pieces around the house and just kind of fashion my own stuff. But when I got to the age that I could actually start kind of properly making stuff, I just did. I never had that kind of, I don't want to say that more fun phase because it was all fun. I love it all. But it kind of, because it's character stuff, it was always just kind of high pressured, high stakes, and there's a lot of expectation from people because they're well known and well loved characters. So I always wanted to make the best that I could. And I've always just had that pressure. And it's a good pressure. I'm used to it. I think it drives a lot of success having that kind of pressure. I'm grateful for it. But it's going to be nice to go to an event without that. Almost kind of going incognito in a way. And I'm saying it like people even know who I am. Yeah, okay, yeah, a few people now I can meet at events and they follow what I'm doing, and it's cool to put faces to tags for sure. But like, it is nice. It is nice to be able to go to these places without the expectation, and I'm looking forward to it. Not to say I'm not putting in a stupid amount of effort for what I'm wearing, because of course I am. That's how I do these things. That's me. I can't help it. I'm a tryhard at my core. I will always be a tryhard. But it'll be nice not to have any expectation. It'll be nice just to kind of amble around comfortably, appreciating other people's work and kind of vibing for a change. I don't really do that at events. Like when I go to cons, I'm there on business, you know. Not like, not technically on business, but I am there as a character to perform, really. And I go with the expectation that I'm gonna be, you know, stopping to talk to people and have my work pretty closely scrutinized by a whole bunch of, you know, fans and industry professionals. And it is stressful. It's a good stressful. I like it. I will always love it. But it is stressful. And I always come away from those kinds of events like elated, definitely, but I am dead to the universe for at least a week. There's just so much that goes into it because there's so much at stake. I care so much. Whereas with this event, yes, I care. I'll be going with the express intent of just having a good time. And I don't do that. It's not something I have ever really thought about. But it'll be nice. Does my Fitbit think I'm exercising? Not. I'm not. It'll be good. I'm going to be treating it as a holiday equivalent. I don't do holidays. It's going to be nice just to amble about with friends, have a good time, put up to some nonsense, meet other people who are also up to nonsense. Hell, it'd be nice to make a few friends. See what happens. I do need to finish everything for it. But then I've also got Friday deadline, so which is technically more of a Thursday deadline because it needs to be ready to go for Friday. I know what I'm doing. I've made that decision to get around to actually doing it. Realistically, once I've done as much as I can with all this, that's what I'll be focusing on for the rest of the day. Because it's another one of those things, like, I don't know how long this is actually going to take me. In my defense, I didn't realize that there was going to be a deadline for Friday, but there is. So, you know, this isn't entirely my fault, but also I didn't have to decide to do the things that I have, so it kind of is. See what happens, see how it plays out. Basically, a friend's birthday on the Saturday, which I didn't know. Since a bunch of them are meeting up on Friday, I thought, that's the best opportunity for me to see this friend with a gift. And I decided, I know, I will kind of sort of make a thing. Because I can't just get someone a card and be done with it. I could make these rods for my own back. Because he will not be expecting anything. There is no reason for me to do this, but also I kind of want to. So I can at least try. If I don't manage it, then okay, that sucks. I'll just give it to him later. I don't know when they're next going to meet, so kind of tricky. Fairness, I'm hoping knowing that I have that to do is going to stop me from fiddling with this before I should. That's the hope. I'm already looking at it like, oh, well, it's kind of drying in places. I could probably... No. Don't do that. Wait. Because I'll just rip up what's already down and that would be done. So at least I can go deal with that. I'm not going to stream it because I don't think he'd drop in on a stream, but if he did, then I would be shooting myself in the foot pretty hard. Ask a friend for a cheeky Photoshop edit of something to go along with it. I have various plans, and all of them are going to sound a little bit cryptic because I can't actually explain them. Because they're surprises. Just trust me, it's fun. I'll go over some of this. A little extra in places. But it's going to be hard to know exactly what is what. So I've sanded it back. Try and figure it out. Because what I don't want to do is just slap a load down and say, oh, you know, now I can't see any fiberglass, it has to be smooth. That's not how that works. Definitely looks a hell of a lot better. I'm looking at it kind of over the top and sort of rotating it. It looks a hell of a lot smoother a curve. So I'm inclined to say, since I've used up the last of my stuff, I am leaning toward making that good enough and then leaving it dry back, sat on the back of the fan, as I did with the other one. I need to get pics as well. So this was kind of a short stream, I guess, but that's kind of it for now. I'll come back when I add more, but for now, that's kind of it. I'll have to sand it outside of the garage because, you know, dust. When I'm doing more to it, I'll come back and yeah, that's sort of gonna be it for now. Just see if I can get a cheeky little shot for the old time-lapse cam as well. And hopefully that worked. But yeah, that's kind of going to be it for now. And I'll come back when I do more to it. So short and sweet, but better than nothing. And I'll catch you guys for the next round, really. So until then, laters.